Rule number 3 was simple. Never hold eye contact with the cow. No one explained why. No one needed to, because on Hollow Creek Farm, the people who broke rule number 3 never stayed long enough to ask questions. I learned about that rule before I even learned where I was sleeping. The farm was located outside a small Texas town that didn't appear on most maps. People there called it Gray Hollow, though no official sign ever confirmed the name. The roads leading in were cracked and quiet, and once the sun went down, the town seemed to fold into itself, like it didn't want to be seen. I arrived just before sunset. The owner of the farm, Earl, barely spoke when he handed me the keys. He was an older man with rough hands and tired eyes, the kind of person who looked like he hadn't slept properly in years. He didn't welcome me. He didn't ask where I came from. He only pointed toward the barn and said, "Read the rules first." The rules were written on a single yellowed page, taped to the inside of the farmhouse door. I laughed at first. That was my mistake. The first rule said I wasn't allowed inside the barn after 9 p.m. The second warned me never to respond if I heard my name called from the animals. The third rule was underlined twice, darker than the rest. It said that if the cow ever stared directly into my eyes, I had to step back immediately. I remember thinking it sounded like superstition, rural nonsense, the kind of thing people invent to scare outsiders. Then I saw the cow. She stood alone near the barn fence, perfectly still. Brown and white, average size, nothing unusual about her body, but her eyes were open wider than any animal should be. She didn't chew, she didn't blink, she didn't turn away when I moved. She watched me walk. I stopped. She stopped. I stepped to the left. Her eyes followed. There was no fear in them, no confusion, just attention. That night I couldn't sleep. The farm was too quiet. No crickets, no wind, just a thick silence that pressed against the walls. Around midnight, I heard something outside. Not footsteps, not breathing, just a slow, dragging sound near the barn. I looked out the window. The cow was standing exactly where she had been hours earlier, still watching the house. I remembered rule number 3 and stepped away from the class. The next morning, I asked Earl about the cow. He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he opened a large leather-bound book on the kitchen table. Inside were names, dates. Some names were crossed out in red ink. He closed the book before I could read them. "They didn't follow the rules," he said. That was all. Over the next few days, I noticed other things. The dogs refused to go near the barn after dark. The horses lowered their heads whenever the cow was nearby. No animal ever challenged her. No sound ever came from her mouth. But every night, she moved closer to the house. On the 4th night, I woke up to a whisper. It sounded like my own voice. It came from the direction of the barn. I didn't answer. The next morning, the gate was open. No one asked who opened it. By the end of the week, I realized something was wrong with the town itself. People avoided eye contact when I mentioned the cow. Conversation stopped when I entered a room. One woman at the diner leaned close and whispered, "If she sees you properly, it's already decided." I asked her what that meant. She paid her bill and left. That evening, as the sun dipped below the fields, the cow stood directly in my path. This time there was no fence between us, no distance. Her eyes locked onto mine, and I felt something tighten in my chest, like my body had forgotten how to breathe. For a moment, I didn't move. Then I remembered the rule. I stepped back. The cow tilted her head slightly, as if disappointed. That was the moment I understood something important. Rule number 3 wasn't there to protect me. It was there to mark me. After that night, the farm felt different. Not louder, not more violent, just aware. It was the kind of awareness you feel when you realize someone has been standing behind you for a long time without making a sound. The buildings were the same.
The fields stretched out the same way they always had, but something unseen had shifted its attention toward me, and once that happens, there is no pretending things are normal. I stopped checking the rules after the first week, not because I forgot them, but because they started to feel less like warnings and more like descriptions of things that were already going to happen. The cow was closer every night. At first, she stayed near the barn. Then she began standing near the fence. After that, she positioned herself directly between the barn and the house, as if she were deciding which direction she preferred. She still didn't blink. Sleep became difficult. Every time I closed my eyes, I felt the urge to open them again, like something important was happening while I wasn't looking. On the nights when I did manage to sleep, I dreamed of standing in the fields while every animal on the farm faced me in perfect silence, all of them watching. One night, just after 9 p.m., I heard the barn door creak. I froze. Rule number 1 echoed in my head. I was not supposed to be inside the barn after 9, but the rule didn't say anything about the barn coming to me. The sound came again, slow, careful, as if whatever was moving didn't want to be noticed. I stood in the hallway, listening. Then I heard my name. It wasn't loud, it wasn't threatening. It sounded exactly like me saying it under my breath, the way you do when you're trying to remember something important. I did not answer. The sound stopped. The next morning, Earl was already outside when I stepped onto the porch. He was staring at the cow, who now stood only a few yards from the house. He didn't look surprised. He didn't look afraid. He looked resigned. "She likes you," he said. I asked him what that meant. He didn't respond. Instead, he told me to help him move feed into the barn. I reminded him of the rules. He nodded slowly, like the rules were a formality. "We'll be quick," he said. Inside the barn, the air felt heavy. The smell wasn't hay or animals. It was something metallic, faint but unmistakable. The kind of smell you only notice once you've already been breathing it for too long. I heard movement above us. Hooves, but wrong, too slow, too deliberate. I asked Earl if there were animals in the loft. He didn't answer. That was the first time I broke a rule. I looked up. There was nothing there, but the feeling didn't go away. That night, the cow stood directly outside my bedroom window. I didn't look at her face. I could feel her presence without needing to see it, the way you can feel someone staring at you from across a room. Then she did something new. She stepped closer. I heard her breathing, slow, controlled, patient. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. No signal, no service, but there was a notification, a voicemail, from my own number. I didn't open it. The next day, I noticed a new name in the book. It wasn't crossed out yet. It was written in pencil, lightly, as if whoever wrote it wasn't finished deciding. It was my name. I confronted Earl. He sighed and finally sat down across from me. He told me the farm had been in his family for generations, that the cow wasn't always a cow, that once, long ago, there were no rules because there was no need for them. She doesn't hunt. She chooses. That night, the animals stopped moving at exactly 2:17 a.m. Every sound vanished at once. No insects, no shifting, no breathing. I stepped into the hallway and saw the barn light turn on by itself. Against every instinct I had, I moved toward the door. That was the second rule I broke. The barn doors were open. Inside, I heard something breathing. It was not heavy. It was not animal. It sounded like someone holding their breath, waiting for permission to speak. Then it said my name again. This time, it came from behind me. I turned, and in that moment, I understood the truth. The sound from inside the barn was not an animal.
And Hollow Creek is one of the last. That night, I couldn't stay in the house. Something in the air was heavier than it had ever been. Every shadow in the yard seemed to stretch longer, every rustle in the trees sharper. I felt it pressing against me, a quiet insistence that I follow the cow, that I step beyond the rules that had kept me safe, or at least alive, until now. I took a flashlight, but I didn't need it. The cow was already there, standing on the edge of the barn, unmoving, staring. Her eyes were deeper than they had ever been, darker, more knowing. For a moment, I thought she might blink, but she didn't. She only waited, patient, calculating, judgmental. I remembered the rule number 3, step back, step away. But some force inside me refused. I needed to know. I needed to see why the farm felt like it was alive, like it had been waiting decades for someone like me. My feet carried me forward without consent, past the barn, past the rusted fences, into the heart of the field, where the grass was taller and the moonlight painted long, thin shadows that moved strangely with the wind, or maybe not with the wind. The other animals had gathered quietly around me. The dogs stood at a distance, heads low. The horses huddled together, their breath visible in the cold night air. The smaller animals, the goats and the chickens, didn't make a sound. Even the wind seemed to hesitate around them. All of them were watching. All of them were silent, except the cow. She led me further, closer to the center of the field, where the air smelled metallic, like old blood and rust combined. I reached the barn and noticed for the first time that the door had closed behind me, slowly, deliberately. There was no sound, no wind, nothing to explain it, just the door shutting. And then a low growl emerged from the barn, guttural, almost human in its cadence. It sent shivers through my body. I turned around to look at the cow. She wasn't behind me. She was in front, blocking the only path back. I realized then that the rules weren't about protecting anyone from her. They were about controlling my movements, giving her permission to watch, to decide, to claim. Every broken rule had led me here, and now the final one would be broken if I didn't act carefully. I stepped backwards slowly, trying not to look at her directly, remembering the register and the names crossed in red. Every person who ignored rule number 3 had ended up like those names, gone, erased, forgotten. I swallowed hard, wishing I could turn back time, but the farm didn't allow that luxury. It never did. The barn door creaked open suddenly. The air inside shifted like it was breathing. I could see shapes moving, but not animals. Human-shaped, but wrong. Too tall, too thin, unnaturally still. I wanted to run, but my legs wouldn't respond. I could hear them whispering, but not in words I recognized. It was more like a rhythm of warning, a song of hunger, a call that I understood instinctively as my name. My flashlight flickered. I dropped it. The beam bounced across the field, briefly illuminating the cow. Her eyes glowed red for a heartbeat. Then darkness swallowed the light completely. The sounds intensified. Hooves clattered behind the barn. Breathing, deep, wet, and wrong surrounded me. And then the cow spoke. Not with words, not with a sound that belonged to this world. It was a voice inside my mind, echoing my own thoughts, twisting them, mocking them, reminding me of every moment I had looked away from a rule. It said only one thing: you stepped forward. I stumbled. The ground beneath me felt soft, alive. The animals surrounded me now, not on the ground, but in the shadows above, in the trees, in the barn, in the very air around me. I could feel their eyes everywhere, every pair of them, analyzing, counting, deciding. And then I saw the register lying on the ground near the barn. My name was written in pencil at the top of the page. No red mark yet, but as I stared, the letters darkened, spreading like ink in water, as if something in the air was writing it itself. My heartbeat echoed in my ears. I realized then that the cow had not led me anywhere. It had brought me home. Home to the place where the farm claimed what it had been waiting for. A wind rose suddenly, though there had been no breeze before. The barn doors slammed shut with a force that rattled the entire building. Shapes moved in the shadows, surrounding me. I fell to my knees, the grass clutching at my hands like fingers. And then I understood. I was not alone, and the cow had never been just a cow. She was a keeper, a judge, a sentinel of a farm that existed outside the laws of man. I tried to run, but the ground would not let me. The animals, her minions, her witnesses, moved with a deliberate slowness, herding me toward the center of the field. Every sound in the world became amplified, every heartbeat a drum in the darkness. I tried to call out, but my own voice refused to work. The only sound was the low, internal echo of her judgment, like a drum beating in my chest. Then I felt it, a presence inside me, cold, sharp, undeniable. The cow's gaze penetrated through me, into me. It wasn't just watching anymore. It was remembering, recording, deciding. My body froze completely. Time stretched. I understood why all the names in the book had been crossed out in red. Because once the cow truly decided, there was no undoing it. Once she looked fully, completely, no one could step away. I was trapped, not by fences, not by chains, not by anyone, but by the rules I had ignored and the creature I had underestimated. Hours or maybe seconds passed. I couldn't tell. The darkness pressed closer, and I could feel my mind fraying. I thought of the other names, the voices, the people who had come before me, and I knew without question that I was now one of them, part of the farm's memory, part of its silent ledger. The first rays of sunlight touched the horizon, but they did not reach me. I was still in the field, surrounded, claimed, observed. The cow finally stepped aside, not out of mercy, but because she had done what she was meant to do. Her gaze left a mark on my soul that I would never forget, and I understood that the rules were not warnings, they were invitations, declarations, and sentences. The farm slowly returned to its quiet normalcy. Birds began chirping, the wind stirred, but I never moved from that spot, unable to turn back, unable to step forward. My name is now in the register, pencil marks darkening, waiting for the next. And the cow? She stands still every night, watching the world, watching the people who pass the fields, waiting for the next visitor, the next disobedient soul, the next human who dares step forward into Hollow Creek Farm. The voice of the farm whispers in every corner. You can hear it if you listen. A soft, deep, knowing sound that calls your name, telling you the truth. Some farms are empty. Some farms are quiet. Some farms are never closed.